Hello there. This is Ian Nethercott from the famous AutoHub Show. Today it's not a live show, even though it says that behind me. It's actually our interview series, and this is a one-on-one interview where I interview people from all sides of the auto industry, but also people who surprisingly are not in the industry as well. So definitely check out some of those interviews. But we've been trying to get this interview done for a while. Life happens where you're making other plans, weather, staffing, all kinds of stuff, especially in service. I don't know why that is, but service is always a little bit of a challenge, hence why I do a fixed stop show on Fridays. And if you're a parts person and you want to hear about parts, can you hold? That's definitely a feature of that episode from yesterday, so you can check it out online. So I have Robert, and Robert, you're muted, just so you know. Yeah, there we go.
I'm aware.
Robert, maybe you can tell us a little bit more about what you do, how you got here, and more importantly, why automotive? Because we all know that
Yeah.
that's kind of an interesting story all the time. So go ahead.
Yeah. So, Robert Migliaccio, I've been doing automotive for 25 years now. I got into it just out of high school. Started as a detailer, detailing for an independent company through a Toyota store. From there, just kind of grew through everything fixed operations. So, parts driver, parts counterman, wholesale guy, system parts manager, and had the opportunity when we got a Mini Cooper store to join the service side of the world. Started learning everything on the service side. Grew into a service manager, parts and service director, fixed operations director, and currently I'm a service director at our CMA Valley Stanton stores, where we got 5 stores in this market, from Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, Volkswagen, Honda, Nissan, and Subaru. So it's been a long road, but it's been a fun one. And why automotive? I don't know. I just love cars. I had 2 older brothers as we were growing up. They were into stereo systems at the times, coming up through I'm going to date myself here, the mid to late 90s, putting stereos in cars. So, I just got infatuated with, electronics, putting them in cars, making them look good, making them sound good, and having fun with them, and just kind of stick with me and kept going. So I just wrote it out, and here it is. It's been a lovely career thus far, and I got plenty more in front of me, I'm sure.
Rock and roll. Yeah, I was actually, I just went out to, I guess, a late breakfast or lunch, and I went to what looked like the head shops I used to go in the 80s. And it was kind of funny because there's all these young kids working there. I'm like, I remember when these were like above retail in the 80s, and they were everywhere. They were
Yeah,
like, I sell the rock shirts and I sell the assorted other stuff.
yeah,
And
yeah.
they're now kind of a dying breed, but they're still selling the same rock shirts I remember from the 80s because nobody wants to buy, a shirt from a band from 2023. So it was kind of weird. It was like going back in time. I felt like I was going through those beaded, what are the beaded curtains they used to have way
Yeah,
back.
yeah.
I was like, wow, like, Iron Maiden and, Slayer and Dio. It was kind of hilarious. And I
Oh,
remember, upgrading stereo systems in my own cars. And actually, a couple of years ago, I had the opportunity to interview the guys from Truly who've come up with a
yep.
Bluetooth speaker where there's no wiring. You basically just drop it in your car and bam, stereo system. And I was like, that's something I wish I had in the 80s. I was paying
Yeah, and I have
six
to rip
hundred
a
bucks.
whole trunk apart.
Yeah, like instead of having like your whole trunk with speakers, it was like one speaker, drop it in, rock and roll. And it
That's
was
great.
kind of
Yeah.
so we talked a little bit about parts yesterday on the show. Obviously, as we look at tariffs and we look at increases in service parts inventory, but more importantly, probably service in general, because parts are part of it. Where do you see, like, as someone who manages multiple fixed ops departments, where do you see the focus being that ownership term of cars is stretching? So it used to be
Yeah.
7 years now. I hear it's 13. Are you seeing a massive opportunity in service? Like, what do you see these days?
I do. I think everybody that's kind of worked in the industry, or if you haven't been in the industry during the COVID period, we really kind of saw the onslaught of what happened to vehicle ownership,
Yep.
for the first big part where everything transitioned over, and there was a huge spike. So I think with the tariff situation, we just spoke about this the other day with our company, and there's such up and downs to it right now. We've kind of just let it lay kind of there, and if it's brought up, we talk about it. If it's not, we don't really discuss it, because even throughout the manufacturers, we don't have a lot of people involved in telling us exactly what's going to be, um, you know, what's going to be priced, what's not going to be priced, where the part's coming from. There's travel trips back and forth to different countries that can change the tariff. And so we haven't really kind of bit into it, but I think it is going to put that same focus point that we saw during COVID. We're going to see a large group of people holding on to their vehicles, unsure about purchasing probably, and then that's going to create just more for us in the longevity of the service departments and what we're doing. So it's bigger emphasis on us to take the lead again, really strive to set ourselves apart and kind of grow and hold down the building like we're supposed to. You know, get our fixed absorption in line and let sales do what they can with what they have and really make it happen. And you know, partnership with the manufacturers and hope that they're on the same scale as what we're looking to do, which is try to take care of the customer at the end of the day. So share those expenses down as kindly as we can, you know, absorption or pass along, however it's going to be. But hopefully it doesn't affect us too much. Again, it seems to be riding so far up and down, up and down. Every day seems like it's different. It's going to be tough to really nail it down until they come out with an official and let it ride. So.
So what do you think on the parts inventory in terms of best practice? Would you order more parts just to have them on hand? Would you streamline what you got on parts? Would you, increase prices on parts? Like what, how do you deal with that if you've got, say, 5, 10, 15 locations with, I heard some numbers yesterday of like $500,000 in parts going, "Eh,"
Yeah, yeah. No, so our Chrysler store specifically in our group is about $1 million in inventory. We do a large fleet and wholesale business out of our stores there in Stanton. So we have a lot of inventory consistently and constantly going on. So you know, we didn't take the toll of it. We kind of in the mindset of keep it simple. We're going to kind of monitor it, keep an eye on it,
yeah.
but we're not going to do anything impulsively and kind of jump ahead. We kind of feel like the way it's going, we can kind of stay in front of it. The inventory we have, the inventory that the manufacturers are telling us is available, is still fairly decent and provided and allowed right now. So I don't think it's anything we really need to jump into crazy and really kind of embark on just stockpiling and getting our day supply up over what we need it to be. I think we can kind of hold tight, maybe increase the fast moving stuff, you know, filters, oil change, you know, stuff like that that we know we need on a daily basis, and let the little onesie twosies, things that we need just kind of roll in and take effect as they take effect, whether that's, we're not talking about 20, 30, 40, 50, $60,000 like cars are. So, we might see a dollar to $100 kind of difference in cost, which I think for most people isn't going to be a huge increase. Obviously it hurts still, but I don't think we see the same effect like we would see on the car side of things when they come through. So it's going to go up. It's definitely going to change the price, but I feel like parts are consistently and constantly kind of fluctuating as it is. Margins from across the board from what manufacturers have for MSRP to our cost is usually pretty good. So I feel like we're in a good place where, again, if the partnership comes in right from the manufacturer, we really won't see too much of an increase or too much of a hold. I know in the people I spoke to, the independents are a little bit different in that regard compared to the manufacturer. So I think they're going to see the largest kind of growth in what you would see as far as costs are concerned. But then again, that still affects us because we still utilize them in some cases. We have to get aftermarket parts. We don't have the factory stuff available, or we're trying to move a used car that's not a brand that we have, and the quickest part to get is through the aftermarket, not the manufacturer. And again, we'll see those costs as well kind of hit us, but it's definitely such a smaller scale. I feel just because of the cost of what we're dealing with, that we're really not going to see a huge problem with the part side of it. It's just going to be an inconvenience, if anything.
And what about the retention side? I mean, I know back when I worked on the BDC side, I was doing some work with some General Motors stores and Mercedes-Benz and other brands, and they had this really low target for service retention. But obviously, when you look at ownership term stretching, and you're looking at obviously trying to retain as many customers as possible, and unfortunately for the independents, their costs are up, so that means we probably have an advantage, even though we always did with costing. What are there any strategies you're working on to increase retention, to bring people back that maybe you lost to other third parties? Like, how are you playing that game?
Yeah, so we've put a structure in place where we're just kind of trying to stay out in front of everything that's going on right now and be the information hub for what they need to know. Because to be frank, I mean, if you look out there, I don't see anything from the aftermarket really, saying there's any cause for concern. They're just letting it roll. So we're out there actually putting ourselves out there through social media, through email blasts on our websites. Videos we're sending to the customers from our CFO, just saying, we're here, to help. You have questions, call us, and try to help build that relationship and really drive the retention aspect to us. That we're going to end up probably having the better cost, the more flexibility, and the more longevity with what's going on, kind of to work through the situation and the issues more so than you would if you did hit the independents, And again, at the end of the day, we've kind of always focused it on that relationship and that bargaining chip per se, that we're here to help no matter what. So, it doesn't have to be related to a cost associated to us, but just the fact that we're coming forward to try to help everybody understand ourselves, even when we don't understand. So that way they have somewhere to go and they know they can come to us. So you just putting it out there and make sure that when they do think of it or they hear it, they
Yep.
remember us and then want to come to us to get their answers.
100%. Yeah. I mean, I remember years ago, and this date myself a little bit, but say 15 years ago, I've been in the auto industry like you, 25 years. 15 years ago, I remember doing exercises for BDC reps where we'd call independents and we'd ask them questions about pricing, and they were always a little shocked with how expensive it was somewhere else. But what
Yeah,
what you have to remember if you're listening to us and you're a customer, and everyone's a customer servicing your car, not only taking it to a dealer or a branded dealer, you're getting certified technicians. You're usually saving some money, and in most cases, you're getting a warranty on the work provided. So do your homework, sure, but if you're keeping a car 13 years, you want to be doing that preventative maintenance by someone who knows what they're doing, and more importantly, is trained on your car. I mean, I
yeah,
saw a really
100%.
funny one. I think it was on LinkedIn. There was some picture of a guy with a Lamborghini Urus, which is their SUV, and it was
Yeah,
like in a Jiffy Lube drive, and I was sitting there going, "Ooh, that's about to be a very bad decision."
yeah. When you think about, we can't even put off-brand oil filters on most of the
Yeah,
off-brand vehicles that we have because of the issues that arise from them. So it falls into a crazy aspect of like the consumer just needs to be made aware and understand that even we try to take the proper precautions to make sure that we use dealer branded parts when we put them on our used cars, so that way we don't have the issues that you would get going and servicing with off-brand parts in that regard as well. So it's been pretty wild and crazy to see that. But yeah, I think I saw that one as well, which was,
it's like
and
nice.
even still, when I drive the parking lot of all the independents, I always look to see what they have in their parking lot, and I'm like, why are you not at my store? It's like it should be there, it shouldn't be here, kind of thing.
What about the mobile service game? Are you guys in that game? Are you considering it? Are you looking at it? Have you
So
thoughts
we
on it?
do we through the group, since we have obviously we got 8 locations, 24 stores
Yeah,
total in the CMA group. We do have a Ford and a Lincoln store, which are both running mobile. I think we're one truck each a piece on that.
yeah.
And most recently, from the last NADA, I spent some time with some of the independent groups out there and talking to them. And I've been meeting with them, kind of try to get some game plan together of what the investment's going to look like for getting it up and running. It's definitely something I feel obviously is kind of the next steps to what we're at. A lot of us are way behind in times on that, just as we
Right.
were with everything else. Um, so just trying to get in the game, and there isn't a lot in the area where we're at currently. So it's going to be a huge game changer, I think, for us to put something in first and be one of the first to do it in our market,
Right.
just because nobody else is doing it. And you know, we call the Power Valley because all of our stores are here. We all work together accumulatively, so we'd be able to brand it almost in our sense as 5 separate independent brands within one on that mobile truck too. So we can run a CMA truck in our market that's housed to be able to take care of 5 major manufacturers locally and afar. So we'd be able to step in some different markets, get into some different places where people just don't travel to us, and
Right.
really kind of get in front of them and push them our way at the end of the day. So it's definitely on the radar. It's something we're working on, something we're building, and it's just going to be interesting to see how far we do take it, though. If it's going to be 1, 2 trucks, or if we're going to be like the Ed Roberts of the world and get into that 20, 30, 40, 50 truck kind of scenarios that they're running, and really kind of see ourselves be leaders in that.
Yeah. I mean, and what's your opinion on technology like UVI versus Hunter and stuff like that? I mean, I've even heard some crazy stuff with robots in the drive delivering parts. But what do you think on technology like UVI with all that information? Is that something you're looking at, or something you think's a little
So
overwhelming for the customer? Like, what do you think?
So we're definitely trying to be innovative. We're definitely using AI where we can, whether it's in phone service systems and stuff like that. We've been real big on trying to get the parts runner situation, and when I saw the parts robots, I thought it was amazing to see something so simple actually be taken up because a lot of people don't want to do it. A lot of people don't want to be the runner. They don't want, they feel like it's an underclassed
Yeah, yeah,
job per se. I guess even though it's not. But I think you can build it right, and you can really kind of have the right process with it. But it's very interesting. I think I personally would, if I had carte blanche to do whatever I want, I'd probably have 3 or 4 of them going through, just because I think it's a great system to keep everybody in place and allow it to do what it needs to do. Obviously getting everybody on board for the expense structures of what those things cost and that is different, but yeah, no, man, I'm all for it. I'd love any form of technology that we can utilize to help bring it better. Whether it's just tools that we get or if it is actual kind of AI functions or things like that that can help us. But I have not personally demoed UVI or any of those. We have had a couple of the tire machine softwares that I've used in my time, and again, it's a simple tool, but I think overall it gives such a great aspect of what we give back to the customer as far as the information we can provide them, and such a quick turnaround time as well. By the time a customer drives over a tire check machine and gets into the service lane, and the advisor's greeting them, they've already got a report either to themselves or that we can present them
right.
in that 10 to 15 seconds it takes to kind of get that whole process started. So it's definitely good stuff out there. I think at the end of the day, pick the one that works best for your store, your shop, and use what's going to work for the staff and the, I guess, the layout you have per se, because putting the wrong product in the wrong service lane can make it even more troubling at the same time.
Yeah, I was a little bit. I did a show with UVI, and I've interviewed them a couple of times at NVA, and I was kind of thinking about that 8 o'clock service line or the 8:30 service line of vehicles going. Okay, now I got a new problem. They all went through this machine, and now I got 10 people standing there going, "Okay, what? Am I done yet? Am I done yet?" And it's like so it caused a different problem. That was kind of interesting. And I was thinking about the robot because I did some work with the dealer group out of Tampa, and they had a night shift to do diesel trucks. So they had a
Okay.
parts work until 3 in the morning or something crazy. And I was like, it would be great to have the Amazon parts delivery and get rid of the parts guy. Like, who wants to be the parts guy at 3 a.m.? Whose hands are
Yeah.
up for that deal? But it
Now, if
was,
we can remotely do it, make it all pick the part, grab the part, pull the part, deliver the part, that'd be
yeah,
that'd be some futuristic stuff for sure.
yeah. Like I was thinking about the robot going, yeah, during the daytime we've got a parts guy, but at night we only got like Herbie the bot or whatever that is. But yeah, I mean, I think when you're looking at it, whether it be online booking, whether it be technology in the drive, Dior Fax or X Drive or whatever your features are, soft technology like VinQ or other technology. What I liked about UVI was the ability to have that information quickly. But I think
Yeah.
to your point, much like at Costco, and I was at Costco earlier today, they got people running around the store, but then the bottleneck is in the checkout. It's not in the store. That's only part of the issue. So if I create a new bottleneck, which is a huge throughput at 8:30, and then I got a new problem, which is like, wow, now I've got like 20 angry customers that used to have to wait. Now they're not waiting in the front end; they're waiting in the middle. So that
Yeah.
kind of causes that other thing. Do you loaners or do you use Uber delivery for that, or do you
So
have
we
a
didn't get into
shop?
yeah, we did not get into the Uber. I know manufacturers have given us kickbacks and corporate rates and
Yeah,
setups like that to help make it appropriate.
yeah,
The area I'm in right now is a little more rural in essence, so it's not
mhm,
too city driven. So the amount of drivers available is not a huge pool to pull from.
yeah,
So I think we see more in the aspect of we're kind of very hometown. So
yeah,
if we got to get somebody to ride home, anybody in the dealership kind of jumps in, whether it's parts sales or service, loaner vehicles as needed for those simple things, and then all in all, just running kind of an express version at all of our stores to make sure that the customers that can't get a ride, don't have a loaner, and need to wait, we try to get them turned around quickly. And then as things arise, if it becomes a desire or a need to do more, having those abilities to throw them in a loaner car or do something is definitely an option for us because the end of the day, it's the easiest way to help take care of the car if we do it then and when it's here instead of trying to, just like putting this meeting together. It'd be great if it was a one-time try, but you kind of find all the issues kind of keep arising, and it just pushes it off, pushes it off, pushes it off. So, um, you know, the best for us is always in the time in the moment. It gives the customer the most convenience and the most understanding of what we're doing. Obviously, outside of that, the fear is if a consumer leaves, they have more time to think about what they're doing, gives us
Yeah.
more time to shop us, more time to price match and all that stuff. Well, all that's okay and all that is good. We try to be fair in that so that way we don't have those issues, but it always just adds one more hurdle then at that point in time. So if we can remove those hurdles, we're definitely all for it. But all of our stores have some form of loaner vehicle, or we all jump in and try to assist in any way with getting somebody a ride if they need to. But ultimately, it's been pretty good. A large group of what we have either come in for some basic maintenance items and hang out with us, or we're thankful for what we get as far as consumers that like to drop off and leave their vehicle with us and give us the time with it. So.
And do you have a unified BDC for the whole group, or is that by store, or how do you deal with call volume?
Yeah, so we do it by store. So everybody's in the call group for each store, and we do just manage it at each store level. BDC obviously would definitely be something in the future for us to grow into, because even on our sales and service side, we keep everything a little independent to make it a little more catered to the store itself and what's going on at each store. But ultimately, again, being that we have the 5 stores and we can pull together if we need help or assistance, a lot of those things get pushed around and pushed over to different stores to help anyway. So we're always helping each other, but the overall call centers we keep independent to try to keep a little more one-on-one with what's going on in each store independently and have them a little more product special to the store that they're dealing with directly.
And what's your biggest challenge on the call volume side? I mean, we did a show on Monday, I think it was Monday. Yeah, Monday. WTF are your people saying on the phone? But the reason for that show was the amount of calls being missed in North America by dealers. We had a show earlier on in the month where someone said they're working with a 50 rooftop group, and some of these stores were missing 1,500 calls, a month or something like that. But the thing that was interesting is someone I was on that show, actually, he provided some data based on 1 million calls of what percentage of calls and this and that. And I actually did a poll on LinkedIn, and like I think 40% said there's no way we can handle all the calls. So I thought that was kind of interesting.
Yeah.
What's your opinion on call volume, and more importantly, on maybe fixing as much of that as you can?
Yeah, so the previous group I was with, I helped work with a AI phone system
Yeah,
for that purpose directly. They're actually piloting with a couple of our stores now
yeah,
in this group, and then we've used a couple different AI tools in that
yeah,
regard to try to help catch it. So the thing I liked about it, and the thing that worked well with those, is it was one scary because it
yeah,
doesn't sound like a robot,
yeah.
and then two, it was the instant feedback we got, because some of the other phone system recording ones that we've had in the past, we get the report or the call miss
Yeah.
queue, an hour or two after the call has happened. So a lot of the AI ones are that we've been piloting are giving it to us in live data. So you call me, I don't get the phone call. By the time you hang up the phone and it's a missed call, I already have a report queue coming up
Right.
as a manager on the desktop saying, hey, you got a missed call. Either they can handle it or you can handle it kind of situation. So it's definitely tough. It's always been the hardest part. I think we put a lot on the advisors. And I think for us, from the management level, we could do a better job speaking up for it. And from a dealer level, I think dealers could do a better job assisting in taking on the expense of either an AI system or additional staff, because it, it's a lot when you're out there as an advisor and to try to ask on top of everything else that they're slated to do each day.
Yeah.
I think it's a little unfair of us for what we ask them to do, and definitely got to be. If you spend a day or two in the trenches with them on the desk and try to run it yourself, you'd really understand exactly what it's like and why phone's ringing. I'm with a customer. I'm going to let it ring and go to voicemail. It's easier to process taking care of that customer right in front of you and versus you know
Yeah.
the perfect world situation that we want to speak on and say that we take every call, we get every call, we don't miss any calls. But I think to be as real as possible on there, it's a tough position and situation for the advisors to be in, and we owe it to them and ourselves and the stores to really kind of look at features and functions to make it as simple as possible for them. And then just the customer feedback from that. I mean, that's huge for them. They get taken care of well, and they don't find themselves in a position where we are missing calls, and we're able to get back to them quickly.
Yep.
Um, and I take that for parts as well. I tell people all the time, and you made the joke, the parts hole kind of situation. The AI system I worked with, I put in our parts department just as much as I put in my service department, and we had just as much success in there as we did in the service department because the customers were just calling and hanging up. And
Yeah.
from a parts standpoint, when you call and hang up, you're not calling and hanging up and waiting and calling again. You're calling, hanging up, and you're calling the next vendor that you have on your list to get in. So I think from a BDC standpoint in that regard and just the technology that's out there, it's huge grab and a lot of stuff that's up in the air for us to keep and retain as long as we're willing to kind of invest in the process and the product.
Yeah, well, that was what was funny. So what Kaylee said, which kind of surprised me, she said parts shouldn't be taking those upfront calls, as someone else should be screening that. And I said, well, who would that be? Who's the person doing that job?
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Who's the in between runner to do that job? So that was kind of interesting. But more importantly, talking about AI, whether it be Numa or Brook, there's a bunch of them. The biggest concern there is basically to your point, what are they saying? But more importantly, do customers realize it? And
Yeah,
I think it's one thing after hours when you're closed, that's fine, whatever. But during business, is that the right process? And I can understand the apprehension. But the other show that I did a while ago was on video MPIs. And I remember when I worked for DRFX years ago, they were trying to get technicians to shoot still images. And the techs were like, yeah, I'm fixing the car, dude. I'm not like a videographer. I'm not shooting photos. Like, I'm not like doing Instagram or TikTok. Like, hey, man, I turn wrenches. Like,
yeah.
that's my deal here. So, what's your opinion on video MPIs or still images in the service side in the shop? What do you think?
So it's a big part of our to do. We just had our owners meeting on Friday, actually,
Yeah,
yesterday. And one of the things that we kind of put on the table, which was a great representation of the presentation because I never heard it put that way. But Liza, our CFO, she pretty much said, the whole process of a technician doing a video MPI is no different than the salesperson taking the customer on a test drive. You have no idea if you're going to get the sale or not off of it. You don't know what the reward's going to be in the long run, but you know that the benefit of you speaking with the customer and taking the time with them is what's going to help create the sale and the process of what we're going through. The biggest complaint I get, surprisingly, is the technicians want to do the videos, but then it's, hey, we don't need service advisors. And then again, I gotta give them the kind of the gut punch and say, well, come on over and stand on the desk and talk to the customers all day because it's a whole different process. It's a whole different situation. So it's just as needed. But the transparency and the understanding of what's going on from the technician is what the consumer enjoys. They don't know me any better than anything else. So they see me when they check in the car. Jokingly I laugh because every customer thinks every advisor is the service manager of the store. So the placement there is they know they're not the technician at the end of the day. And a lot of people, again, you go to the doctor. Do you want to hear the good and bad news from the nurse, or do you want to hear the good and bad news from the doctor? You kind of want to hear it from the doctor in that regard. So we are big on video MPI. It's a big, huge part of our yearly reward program for the technicians. They have to actually have and uphold a certain percentage of video MPIs for the vehicles that they work on in relation to it. And at all of our stores, I mean, we do it. We do it very well. The whole group's been involved in it. We have a goal set for about 75-80% completion on customer cars. So obviously 100 is the
go.
top tier kind of overall goal, but we set a benchmark to try to get it up and running and get it from 50% to 75% to 80 to 100 and really kind of just get the whole process. And even still, I mean, there's other people out there that are even starting to do now the advisor update or the technician update as well, not just the video MPI, but also, hey, your parts are in. I'm working on your car. Everything looks great. Should have it done by today, tomorrow, next day, or whatever. And utilizing that as the follow up versus just the advisor phone call as well. So
Is it done
it's
yet? And yet, is it
yeah,
done?
exactly. It's definitely the wave of it, and the generations we're coming into with smartphones and everything in your pocket. How do we not compete with that and stay up with it and say that nobody wants it at the end of the day? Because it's where we all live. I mean, regardless of age at this point in time, I think everybody has a smartphone. Everybody's got it in front of them. Email, text, phone, video, social media. It's all in your hands. So it's just a matter for us to step up and believe that we can be just as innovative as all these other platforms, and we don't have to stay archaic in what we do in the automotive world.
Yeah, I mean, I remember working for DRFX and trying to convince technicians to go from a clipboard to a tablet, and they were like, I'm the clipboard guy.
Yeah,
And now you're
it's
like,
going to
okay,
take
the
longer to push
tablet.
the buttons than it is to write it down. Yeah.
But the funniest thing that I learned through one of our sponsors, Gale, was that the most watched TikTok videos for automotive are from technicians
Yeah.
because people are real curious because it's kind of like going into the kitchen at a restaurant. They have no idea what's going on. And it's
Yeah.
kind of interesting from a point of view of service updates, but more importantly, that might be part of the solution for the phone problem because if I don't have to have those service update calls, if it's handled early, I can get ahead of it versus not doing that. But the thing that kind of got me thinking back when I trained technicians and service writers was that technicians and the service writers would be at loggerheads because they'd be like, yeah, I told them this is needed and they never sold it. But once they connected those two together and they realized that the technician was presenting it every time, or sorry, the writer was presenting it every time, it eliminated that problem. There was no longer a problem. But when you look at MPIs, not only can you see the problem, you can probably also get metrics that the customer even watched it. So you can say, hey, I noticed you watched the video. Did you have any questions? Right?
Yeah. And
Versus,
yeah, I was gonna say our video format actually allows us to see that. So I see create, send, and viewed is the report that we get daily on it, and we can see live at the same time. And then one of the best practices that have been out there is obviously they want the advisors aware of what was on the video. But I wanted to remove, like you said, that feeling that a technician felt like something wasn't being presented. And it's not that the advisors are not presenting; it's just the thought process over time is there. There's one bad apple, and it kind of sours the batch at that point in time. So, we, or at least I, allow my technicians with the trust that they're going to make quality videos and send them that they're going to match up with their multi-point. The multi-point the advisor is going to review with them is going to match their video. So you're going to have the ability when you're done and hit submit, it's sending to the customer directly before the advisor even gets a chance to
yeah,
review it or not. The customer almost has it first. And I know it's a little contradictory because your advisor's not really prepped or primed for it, but if we do it correctly, they do the multi-point, they get the multi-point in and running. So the
yeah,
pricing is being structured, and then they send the video. Everything kind of hits full scale within that 5 or so minute range. The customer's had time to review it. They're telling the customer that the advisor will reach out to them. So there's information that's already prepped and primed, ready to go to allow them to go ahead and do what they need to do moving out. So
it's not quite the police body cam, but maybe that's coming.
yeah, something like that. Exactly. Yeah.
Like the helmet cam or something,
Yeah. Yeah.
like the GoPro.
That'd be wild if they
Here's
just went
how
around
I'm
with
fixing your car.
recorded. Yeah. Recorded the 8 hour day the whole time.
Yeah, it's not a cooking competition show. It's a fix a car competition show. How quickly can I do this oil change? Anyway, well, I appreciate the time and the thought process. Did you have any final thoughts in terms of what you feel is going to be the biggest opportunity in 2025 as we roll into the almost the second half of the year? Is there anything that you're seeing that's really going to be a big opportunity that you guys take advantage of?
I think ultimately, obviously, as you hit kind of in the start with the tariff situation coming on, there's going to be a lot of uncertainty. So I think we just need to be prepared in the service departments to take on the flexibility of what's going to happen because it's going to be very similar. We're going to see it kind of just slowly and gradually start picking up again, and just being prepared in that regard. So that's all I would say out there is everybody just get ready for it. Make sure your staff's in line. Don't wait until it happens. Make sure you have your team trained. Make
Yeah,
sure they're aware of what's going on. Don't let them speak to the I don't knows. Let them be just as informed as you are, and share a common kind of ideal of what you want them to give feedback to. So we sound like the specialist we're supposed to be when they
yeah.
call the dealer level. So we just got a lot of prep work, get through this next half of the year, and see what the quarters kind of close out in, and how we can end the year better. But I think a very simple process. Just to go back to the basics and get ready for the increase that's going to be coming, because I'm sure it's going to happen.
And sell everyone tires. That's my advice.
Sell everyone tires.
You're in
Yes.
this department, you're not doing that. You need to start doing that. And I used an example. I was looking at a set of tires for my car. So I went to an independent store and they gave me this, which is a quote.
Yeah.
Then I went to a Chrysler dealer. This was impressive. It's 4 pages of
Yep.
like what tires and what they recommend and why. And I was like, wow, this is it's like a manual on what tires to
Yeah.
buy. And I was
Good,
like,
good, better, best, probably as well too.
well, yeah, it's like much different than years ago when it was like, yeah, okay, that's what we got. Did you want that? That's what came with the car. So
Yeah.
it was interesting because tires are the biggest retention tool a dealer can have in service, and I think a lot of dealers go, I don't make money on tires. It's not about the money, man. It's
No, it's
about
not.
the customer, 100%.
Yeah, and I kind of got a little slap in the face the other day. I had a customer walk in and they came in for some check engine light issue,
Yeah,
and then we got on the conversation of do you guys do this type of work here? And we went through it. He's like, oh wow, I just figured you guys were only here for like when cars break down and the independents can't fix them, they send them to you. I'm like, no, we're here for so much more than that. So again, we utilize the same thing, just marketing and social media to stay out there and broadcast that we have it, we want it, and
yeah.
we can be just as competitive at the end of the day.
If you don't think Costco and Walmart are going after tires, you're not paying attention. Those guys,
No.
I used to just
They
see
want
them
you in the store.
selling. I used to just see them
Yeah.
selling tires, and then you went somewhere else. Now they're like, no, we put them on, and then the next step will be, yeah, we do brakes. So
Yeah.
you've got to be. I went into Costco today, and they had a big thing with exclusive discount for brand X. But when you look at Amazon getting into car sales, it wouldn't surprise me at all if Costco had representatives from their local dealers in store. Like I think that would be a really interesting model as a
Yeah.
local dealer to go to your local Costco and go, hey man, can I offer a special deal for your members? Could I just have a person here? There's actually a shopping mall where I used to live. It was kind of interesting. I think it was a Mazda store. They built a mini showroom in a shopping mall. And I was like, that's interesting. And they did it very much like a real location. And I was like, because they got the throughput, right? So they were just picking
Yeah.
up.
Yeah.
But it was all about execution, right? So anyway, I appreciate
That's
you
it.
taking the time. And
No, I
have
appreciate
a
it. Thank you, man.
weekend.
You too, man. Take care.
And I'll share that detail with you. It's on call volume. It's an analyst of 1 million calls.
That's pretty cool.
It's
Yeah.
by
Thank you.
state, it's by country, it's by department. It's a really interesting bit of data that might help you.
All right, man. I
Let me
appreciate
know
it.
on
Man. Thank you.
AI. Let me know on AI.
Yeah.
It's not RoboCop or the Terminator.
Yeah, so the group I worked with, I mean, it was Numa, who I helped
Yeah.
launch. I was working with them when they were piloting in auto dealers, and then when I got down here, obviously not the president, but the president of the market I'm in,
Yeah.
just very very tight on expenses, and then just getting everybody around to it has been a little more difficult. So we've been piloting them in about 3 or 4 of our stores now, and it's definitely on the cusp of what we're trying to look for kind of growing too. So
I think
they're
General Motors did something. The General Motors did something with it. I'm not sure what they're doing.
yeah, I got them certified with GM initially, so we got them co-opt and whatnot as a vendor, and then I think they're working to try to partner with manufacturers to kind of eventually be kind of the tool from the manufacturer that they're allowing. Exactly.
Gold Star tool.
Exactly. Yeah, goals.
Yeah.
So they can charge a little more for the middleman and sell you the same product.
That's
back.
money for us. Sounds good to me.
Yeah, yeah. I appreciate it, man. Thank you, sir.